You built a life that feels safe, and that safety is slowly erasing you. Comfort is not rest, it is cognitive anesthesia, a gradual shutdown of your perceptual range. Your brain evolved to adapt, to notice change, to seek signal in unfamiliar terrain. But comfort removes the terrain entirely. When everything is predictable, when every routine loops without friction, your attention systems begin to decay. Not from exhaustion, from irrelevance. Comfort does not reward you, it flatlines you. The brain assigns resources based on necessity. If a task requires no attention, no problem solving, no recalibration, the neural infrastructure supporting that task begins to prune. This is not metaphor, this is synaptic efficiency. Use it or lose it is not motivational, it is biological. You are not resting in comfort, you are atrophying in it. Algorithmic environments accelerate this collapse. Personalized feeds, autocomplete sentences, predictive search, suggested replies, every interaction pre-stalled, every choice pre-filtered. The system removes cognitive load by removing cognitive agency, and your mind interprets this as optimization. But optimization for what? For engagement, not for you. The trap is not that comfort feels good. The trap is that it feels like nothing, no tension, no resistance, no dissonance to resolve. And without dissonance, there is no recalibration, no pattern recognition, no perceptual growth. You begin to confuse stability with clarity, routine with control, convenience with intelligence. But clarity requires friction. Control requires choice. Intelligence requires challenge. Comfort removes all three. And here is the deeper pattern. Comfort does not arrive by accident. It is systematically constructed. Platforms are designed to minimize effort, to reduce decision fatigue, to automate preference. The stated goal is user experience. The operational goal is behavioral containment. Keep the user inside the loop. Reduce variability. Increase predictability. Your comfort zone is not your creation. It is your cage. And the longer you stay, the smaller it becomes. Because the brain adapts to the boundaries you give it. If your daily experience operates within a narrow perceptual band, your cognitive range contracts to match. You do not expand into comfort. You compress into it. This is why discomfort feels unbearable after extended comfort. Not because discomfort is worse. Because your tolerance has collapsed. Consider the phenomenology of boredom. It is not the absence of stimulation. It is the absence of novelty within stimulation. Scrolling the same feed, watching the same format, hearing the same perspectives. The content changes, but the structure does not. The brain registers repetition, and repetition is noise. Boredom is not a mood, it is a signal. It means the environment has become informationally flat, and most people respond to boredom by seeking more comfort, more passive consumption, more algorithmic curation. But this deepens the problem, because the issue is not insufficient input, it is insufficient variance. The solution is not more. It is different. Discomfort reactivates perception. It forces the brain to attend, to interpret, to problem solve in real time. When you encounter something unfamiliar, something resistant, something that does not yield to autopilot, your cognitive systems engage, not out of preference, out of necessity. This is why learning feels difficult. Why growth feels uncomfortable. Why change feels threatening. Because they are. To the comfort-adapted mind, any deviation from baseline is processed as risk. But risk is not the enemy. Stagnation is. You cannot recalibrate inside the same loop. You cannot expand perception inside the same frame. You cannot build cognitive resilience inside the same environment. The system that gave you comfort will not give you growth. And this is where most advice fails. It tells you to push harder, to discipline yourself, to force consistency inside the same structure. But the structure is the problem. You do not need more effort. You need different input. Small breaks in routine create large perceptual shifts. Not because they are extreme, because they interrupt automaticity, a different route, a different format, a different question. The break does not need to be dramatic, it needs to be real. The brain notices edges, boundaries, transitions. These are where attention sharpens. If your day operates on rails, there are no edges. And here is the cognitive irony. People seek comfort to avoid stress. But prolonged comfort creates a different kind of stress. The stress of irrelevance, of diminishing capability, of watching yourself become less responsive, less adaptive, less present. Comfort does not protect you from suffering. It guarantees a slower, quieter, more invisible form of it. Because suffering is not just pain, it is also the absence of meaning. And meaning requires engagement. Engagement requires challenge. Challenge requires discomfort. You cannot avoid discomfort, you can only choose which kind. The discomfort of growth, or the discomfort of decay. Most choose decay, because it is quieter. It does not demand immediate action. It accumulates slowly, and by the time you notice, the gap between who you are and who you could be has widened beyond recognition. This is the silent prison. Not bars, not walls. just the slow reduction of your perceptual field until the only world you can see is the one you have already mapped. And once the map is complete, there is nothing left to discover. So what is the recalibration? It is not extreme, it is not theatrical, it is not about rejecting all stability. It is about reintroducing variability. Controlled, intentional, incremental. Do something your routine does not predict. Read something outside your algorithmic bubble. Speak to someone whose framework conflicts with yours. Not to argue, to observe, to stretch the perceptual boundary. The goal is not discomfort for its own sake. It is discomfort as a recalibration tool, a way to re-engage the systems that comfort has put to sleep. Notice what your environment has automated. Notice what decisions you no longer make. Notice what patterns you no longer question. And then, deliberately, introduce friction. Not chaos, friction. Because friction is where perception sharpens, where attention returns, where agency rebuilds. This is not about rejecting comfort entirely. It is about recognizing that comfort is a tool, not a destination. It serves recovery, not permanence. And when it becomes permanent, it stops serving you. You are not designed for stasis. You are designed for adaptation. And adaptation requires change, requires challenge, requires the willingness to step into uncertainty and observe what happens. The system will not do this for you. The algorithm will not guide you out. The feed will not suggest discomfort. Because discomfort reduces engagement, and engagement is the metric. But engagement is not growth. Engagement is capture. And if you wait for the system to release you, you will wait forever. So the choice is simple. Stay in the loop, or step outside it. Not once, repeatedly. Until stepping outside becomes part of the structure. Until variability becomes stable. Until discomfort becomes familiar. Because that is the only way to preserve cognitive range. To maintain perceptual flexibility. To remain adaptive in a world that rewards automation. The comfort trap is silent. But the escape is not. It is a series of small, intentional, uncomfortable decisions, made consistently, over time, and the result is not happiness, or peace, or certainty. It is clarity, agency, presence. It is the ability to see the cage, and choose to leave it. Asterisk, asterisk, disclaimer, asterisk, asterisk. This content represents a philosophical and cognitive exploration. It does not constitute professional mental health advice. If you are experiencing significant psychological distress, please consult a licensed professional. All reflections are intended to support thoughtful self-awareness, not replace clinical guidance.